What up? What up? What up? Testing out this little new. There's some nuances that are new to StreamYard. It's good to see that they've upgraded. But hey, it is good to be back. We've got a 4 game slate to talk about. Moose is en route. I just spoke to him. He was in the car driving home. Just got his haircut. Happened all in 6 minutes. But then I looked up. It's 9:40. We've got to talk about this slate. This slate is You know what? While we wait for Moose, let's do a review of the last couple of days. So we started off with a day one where 7 out of the 8 favorites won. Um, Day two worked out really well for me. Won the 100, won a winner take all, profited a ton. Today, not so much, not so great. 2v2 out of first place. Let's talk about HLE just deciding that they're not going to ban Nocturne. They're not going to ban Aurora. They're not going to ban anybody that Gen G was showing prior to. And so really doesn't make a ton of sense. Oh, it looks like Big Kev wants an invite. That's fine. We can do that. Let's get Big Kev in here. Basically, he's going to call half the teams bad and be kind of negative, but we love him anyway. There he is. There's the invite. I sent it to you, buddy. But yeah, so we move into a 4 game slate today. These are going to be best of ones. These are the 1-1 teams. We've got some interesting matchups to talk about. The interesting part is that Moose has just finally arrived. Hello, Moose.
Live. Why can't I hear you?
Because I'm not talking. Can you hear me? Moose.
Test.
Yeah, no, I can hear you. All right.
Emmerich, why can't I hear you?
I don't know.
Oh, I heard you. You're good. Let's go.
All right, cool. All right, Moose. I hope that when you do move to Florida, that you're able to pick up a new mic along the way. Possibly get something that's not like a $30 gaming headset for your Xbox One.
Let's go. Where's Kev at?
I don't know. I sent him an invite, so he'll be here at some point.
He said he was in the bathroom. Let's go.
So, look, we talked about the last couple days, or we didn't. I just briefly had about a 30-second monologue waiting for you guys, trying to kill some time. Unfortunately, you and Kevin really didn't do a whole lot. You guys fell into the trap that was the G2 FlyQuest trap, and you a little less than Kev. Kev's 3 lineups were almost identical. Had that hit, Kev would have been sitting pretty with like 16 other people. And there he is. There's
what are the chances that the favorite wins 8 games in a row? Because that's what happened on that.
It's slate. Fucking Worlds, dude. It's an international tournament, and that's what happens. Favorites win at international tournaments. At least we haven't had. It was an 8 game slate, so we didn't have fucking support captains winning. But do you not remember MSI from like 2 years ago? It was support captain after support captain after support captain, because that's all that won. Because that's what happens at these tournaments. Favorites win.
Dude, there was 8 games. They all won. I'm gonna call top a favorite because we all were on top.
Okay. Yeah, you were not on top.
I had on T1, but you saw my line. My line had top esports. No. My line had top esports. You know what? So I was on top. I did look at everything, and from it did make sense. But
what did you look at? There was nothing that you needed to look at.
Of course, you needed to look at things.
Look at what? Think about the last year.
The fact was that the reason why you played top or T1 in that spot.
I just went and I looked and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. T1 lost to Nongshim. And that's all I fucking needed. That's all I needed, dude.
The thing is, though, is like, what does T1 do in a win there, and what does Top Esports do in a win there? And I think T1 had a significantly more upside to get shit done in that spot. But who would have been on LNG? We all crossed them out. So
yeah, mind you, we talk about Jackie Love's 2.5 kill prop. Kev goes and tells Nathan that I said his lines are soft, which wasn't totally correct. I mean, there's an air to truth to it, and then Nathan shores up his lines. I don't know, dude. I have $100 limit per player there. I see other people in the tournament results that have more than that. I don't know why I would have be fucking limited. I have like a negative 10 grand probably to underdog lifetime, but I have a fucking $100 limit on my fucking players. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know. So Kev, I've got to say this because I did say it in private. You sent me your lineups for the World Championship. Oh man, I couldn't tell you because the last thing that I wanted to do was get you off of your lineups and then been wrong, and then like have switched you off of them. But god
That would have
damn,
sucked.
like yeah. So I was just
I
like,
did.
oh,
I did.
cool.
I was severely lacking in the Asian player department.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could have run any worse. It was a very
Yeah,
It was a
I did. I
very
did. I
big
did.
It was a big Kev thing. It really was.
I did have. I did have all my lineups played the 7-1 game. So.
I mean, that's
Oh
kind of
well.
like your two futures teams losing the DRX back to back in 2022.
That's a classic.
It's really bad. I would have had a little bit of diversity in my lineups. I liked those games. I understood where you were coming from. I wanted to say something, but I couldn't have lived with myself if I got you to switch off and it was wrong. And
That's
so I never wanted to.
I was okay with my lineups until I saw how duped they were.
You liked LNG or what? Was there anybody that liked LNG?
I didn't like LNG until Gelati basically begged me to play them, and then I was like, maybe I should play LNG, and then I didn't. So
I don't know because I had a conversation with Gelati that morning, and he was like, "Dude, this game is just gonna be Liquid trying to lane swap, and it's gonna end low scoring."
Well, that's what we said about every game, and literally every game except for the FlyQuest game was pretty well, except for the two games that Kev had 100% exposure to. Every other game was a fucking bonanza. And then we go into day 2 where Team Liquid
day 2 was even worse. Oh my god.
Oh well, no, it worked out really well for me. I went really heavy HLE, and then I had
HLE baby.
I was heavy on. I had like.
Dude, I had
like 30 Hanwha life lineups, and then it's 4-1 at 25 minutes. And
I had.
Well, my Hanwha is what won my winner take alls. Hanwha FNC
must be nice. Catch 0 teams in there.
I had HLE Gen, and then I switched off last second in the T-dub to like HLE Weibo, which was not a great choice, but I would have probably nutted.
You had a nice 180 lineup, but then your 100 lineup was possibly one of the worst lineups that could have been out there.
And it won.
Well, no, in the 100? No, it didn't.
Yeah, I won the 100.
You won the 180.
I won the 180.
The 100 you finished last.
Oh well, points. I won the 180 though.
Had you switched those, it would have been worse off for you. So good contest selection. Nevertheless,
did you see my lineup?
I did. I saw it in the 100. I won the 100, so that's why I said that.
Oh man, that was a good lineup. I want to say that I looked at. You went with FlyQuest. Very nice. Very respectable. I looked at 3 different sites because Cruncher was down. And then I figured out that in order to make Cruncher work, you just had to make a new site. You just have to make a new account and it works. And then their site just went down at 3 a.m. Pacific when I was crunching my final lineups. And I was like, bro, you guys are really doing this to me right now? Like out of nowhere. And anyways, beyond the point, but I tried every website. I don't feels it still feels
tried
really
hand
difficult.
building. Have you just tried hand building?
I'm not
put a mid captain, put an ADC captain, build from there. If you can't, go to a jungle captain. If you can't, pick a different team. It's not rocket science. I promise you can figure it out. If Gugs can do it in the shower, you can do it elsewhere.
There's a lot of things that Gugs can do in the shower that I'm not gonna do. Okay.
I don't believe that at all. Well, let's get into these games because this slate is absolutely broken. It's disgusting. We're going to bounce around here. I played a little bit. I've got some lineups. I've got some lineups reserved. I don't have anything picked out. I do have limited time tonight, so let's keep the monologues tight and clean. Moose, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at me. Let's just clean this up here. Let's talk about the first game that I want to talk about because it's not the first game of the slate, but it is the game that's probably the most important. We've got BLG versus T1. Now, this line at minus 230 for BLG T1 seems absolutely atrocious. If I had money in Bovada right now, I'd probably hammer this. I'd put like maybe 4 units on BLG. Certainly a possibility. Certainly a possibility that T1 could win this game. They could perhaps draft completely brain dead like HLE in game 2 and game 3. But the problem that I have with this game is you have to figure out how badly BLG is going to beat down the defending world champions, send them into the elimination bracket. And the fact that you can four-stack BLG, you can four-stack BLG with FlyQuest, Weibo, G2, PSG. Wow. I mean, with FlyQuest, you need to take a Weibo or G2 team slot, but like literally, you can put them with almost any team in this in this slate.
BLG is the priciest team. Okay.
Yeah, you can do it with a night captain. Go ahead, try and build it out. I did it before the show. Kev, noted T1 hater. Thoughts on this game, man?
Oh, dude, I couldn't have said it any better. The donkeys just love. The donkeys just fucking love seeing that plus symbol in front of T1. They just are just stroke it every time they see his team sucks. They're so bad. Barring BLG, shit, they can give over Yone because Faker can't play it. But barring them just randomly first picking Orianna, like get Knight off of that pick. He's not good at it. Put him on something that can make a play, and they're going to brutalize this T1 team. And they're going to score well.
Yeah. I mean, it's how well do they end up scoring. I mean, I think I grabbed, there was a promo on Prize Picks, Knight over 2.5 kills. I grabbed that real quick. That was limited on $25. The question I guess I have, I think BLG is going to win. They're probably going to hit somewhere between 17 and 19. Hopefully they can finish early. These T1 guys don't put up a fight, and maybe they only get 15 kills. Does Faker get 3 kills in this matchup, Moose?
Yes. T1 are winning this match.
Just full stroke.
Oh, what a stand.
Full stroke.
So wait a minute. Moose, what happened? What happened with all that stuff that you looked at the other day and that made you arrive at a conclusion that top esports is going to be T1?
Bro, it's T1 plus 180. Are you serious?
I told you.
I don't care. LNG just smacked them, bro. It's T1
They lose their mind. They lose their mind so they see the plus symbol next to T1. They lose their mind.
Dude, it's
this guy just literally told us. He literally told us.
Guys, it is a best of one.
He did. He watched
it
the
was
tape.
The best of one against top esports too. They got
I don't know what the hell he looked at, but he said, "Oh, top is going to beat T1." But BLG clearly better than top, and they're going to lose to T1. Holy shit! All right, let's go into it then. Like Moose, let's talk about the tape.
Plus 180. Plus 180.
So
they would need to be plus 325 like Fnatic for me to bet it. Like they need to be double that number.
Talking about that, we've got top versus Fnatic. Top is incredibly great for DFS when they lose. This is surprising to me. I didn't watch all year. I ran the numbers. That's why I arrived on so much. Who did top play the other day? But whatever the case is, Genji, that was it. I thought it was HLE, but that didn't make sense. Genji, that's why I arrived on it, and that came to fruition. That was that like 5% game that I wanted. But does Fnatic have the juice? I mean, the question that you have to ask yourself. Oh, dude. You're like, oh yeah, T1's going to beat BLG, but Fnatic
they've got even less juice than T1.
No, Fnatic have no juice.
Fnatic have negative juice.
Like how does this line should be higher? How does Fnatic?
How does Fnatic
even compete in this game?
Moose, how do you even sit here and have this type of conversation after you just said that T1 is winning this game? Like,
look,
T1 is a value bet.
T1 is the defending world champion.
But we're talking about TFS here. This makes no sense to me.
Dude,
I didn't hear this full stroking in 2023 when DRX were the defending world champions. Where was that?
that was a fluke.
Yeah, was D1.
And they brought in a different team. But I think the way these two teams play is the complete opposite. And Top Esports is just going to crush them early, and Fnatic is not going to be able to stabilize late. That's all it is. I mean, this is just how do you play Fnatic in this spot? What is the kill spread? I know Gelati probably took it.
I don't think it has anything to do with playing Fnatic. It just what this game comes down to is, do you think like ultimately you're probably playing top or you're playing BLG, right? Or you're playing Fnatic with BLG if you think Fnatic wins this game. I think Fnatic has a sordid history against top. A couple years ago, completely different teams took them to what was a game 5. They were reverse sweeped or close to it. I think they were up 2-1. I think that's when Reckless was there. Now he's a member of the T1 team that we're talking about. So completely different guys here. But we have a kill spread of 12.5. That seems pretty high given what we've seen from totals, at least at this world.
12.5.
12.5 seems like a high total.
I see 9.5.
Yeah, I see 8.5. Where do you see 12?
Yeah.
It was the
that's alt line. Yeah.
Hey, bro, relax. 12.5. Like, yeah, they're gonna get smoked, but
that's a good number. I would bet. I could be enticed to bet Top Esports minus 12.5.
Plus
you're
gonna love. You're gonna love them at minus 8.5.
No. I wouldn't bet it straight. Okay. I bet alt.
We can get BLG minus 120 at minus 6.5. That seems pretty wild to me.
Yeah, just plus 180, dude, for T1.
Oh my.
So here's the question, Moose. Are you playing BLG or are you playing Top Esports? Because you're playing one of the two of them, right?
Man. I mean, obviously, I think
Who are you going to pair with T1?
Top is chalky chalk, and then I think, I mean, one of these teams is getting 20 kills, right? So just pick whichever one you want, or play both of them. Can you pair both of them?
Let's check out.
That might be.
I think you can do jungle captain with the both of them.
All right, so free rolls, friend of the show. Oh, son of a bitch! All right,
free rolls, a friend of the show, the son of.
I will say we do have like a 15. We do have like a 13 game sample size on BLG versus T1 this year, so you can just go back and look through those kill totals to at least get some sort of estimate on how these teams play against each other.
Well, it looks like the top.
It's not a 1-to-1 comparison, obviously, but
the Top Esports team looks like they project a little bit better than BLG, but it's nominal.
Yeah,
it just really comes back to like which one do you think is going to have that kind of top out performance, or do you think that they're both going to be median performances? And then we have to get into these other games because this is where your decisions are really made. Let's be honest, outside of Moose, there's maybe 10%, so probably 150 lineups that or less that will have T1. If they come in higher than 10%, I'd be incredibly surprised. I know that it is a 8 games, or not an 8 game slate, it's a 4 game slate. I've played them on 8 game slates at 5% ownership. Made a ton of sense against Pain Gaming, but BLG is not Pain Gaming for obvious reasons. So PSG FlyQuest, Weibo G2, I think that these games are pretty difficult to kind of hammer down and figure out what's going to go on. PSG FlyQuest, these two teams, I think I favor FlyQuest just slightly in this situation, but PSG has a pretty good historical record throughout the year. They've got a historical record throughout time, and they play sometimes a pretty clean game. The problem is that we haven't seen a lot of clean, 12-1, 7-1 type of games, but FlyQuest was involved with one of those games. So if PSG does win this game and out macros FlyQuest, which I could totally see happen, do they do it in such a fashion that you don't want either of these teams in DFS, that you don't want to bet overs on either of these teams in props? I know that Kev is a noted inspired hater, so we're going to mute him for a second. We're going to go over to Moose. And what's your lean on this? Are you donning the FlyQuest gear, or are you part of Maple's retirement tour cheerleading crew?
I maxed PSG in this spot. I maxed it. I think this is a PSG slammer. And the worst part is you don't know if they're gonna give you 10 kills or if they're gonna give you 22 kills. They're really capable of doing it all. They're like the biggest X factor, you know. Sometimes we saw it against Mad Lions. They played four games already against Mad Lions. Sometimes they get 14 kills, sometimes they get 22. We don't really know. Actually, 20 kills would have been probably pretty good for day one, right, Kev? But then they just absolutely swung it. So
20 kills would be good on most slates, except for at
yeah,
Worlds where
that
you
slate
need
was
like 30,
ridiculous.
where you need your captain to score 70
I
points
think,
to win.
yeah, I think this is a no-brainer spot for PSG. I think that the only problem is, like you said, they're just not clean. Like if they could just be better at closing out games, they'd be even better.
I mean, they're clean in the PCS, but they haven't been since.
Yeah, they're just not so clean. And then a lot of people I saw were on Mad Lions in that one game just because Mad Lions beat them in play-ins. But I think all these teams, FlyQuest, Mad Lions, PSG, it's the same 50-50 matchup over and over again. But I favor PSG against both of them. So, yeah, talent train. What about you, Kev?
Yeah, the wrong team's favored here. It's like PSG, FlyQuest, Team Liquid, Fnatic, Mad Lions are all in the same basket, and PSG is better than all those teams. And like the line should be flipped. I think that barring PSG lost to 100 Thieves, or no, sorry, they lost to Mad Lions in play-ins, but they threw both of those games, and they weren't even playing well. They've beaten the living shit out of FlyQuest already this year. And we literally have seen it. Like Whippo can just randomly lose any game at 5 minutes, just like he did against DK. And
dude, I love this. This actually, Aji killovers. It's a great spot.
Yeah, it typically is a good spot for him. Look, here's the thing about PSG, and I've felt this way since 2021. Whenever PSG should win the game, and this goes back to those series against Mad Lions years ago, where it's like River, Hanabi, Doggo back in MSI, and like whenever you think PSG is going to win, they don't. Whenever you think that they aren't, they will. And this has just been a continual thing, at least in my mind, with PSG. I don't think that they're necessarily better than FlyQuest. I think they're I think this is a coin flip. This is probably. I don't think I don't have any problem with you saying it should be flipped because I don't think it really matters. I think FlyQuest becomes a really interesting team in the sense that, like, you need Inspired's their best player. He's arguably going to be the best player in this game, and we could have some arguments about that in the style. But the problem is that in this meta, the way that he has to play, like you're putting your best player on your engaged tank, and Amumu, great champion, don't get me wrong, but like how does he impact the game when you've got Whippo running it down, blowing both of his sums into a 1v3, and then can't get back to lane, and completely just like ruins the tempo for the entire game. And then they almost pulled that game out. They were at least competitive. You have to think that like if Whippo doesn't completely fucking run it down at the beginning and just be like a 4v5, that maybe that game goes differently. Because Kev, I know you're not a big Damwon fan. You're not a big FlyQuest fan. You're a fan of like 3, 4, 5 teams. That's it. Everybody else sucks. I get it. But are you going to take? Are you going to take the other side? Do you think Inspired's the best player in this game, or are you going to back some? Look, here's the problem, dude. PSG has Betty as their ADC. I just have a hard time. I have a hard time like backing that team, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with you saying Inspired's the best player in this game. I mean, it's either him or Genjia probably. So, in my eyes, I don't know, but
Genjia,
it's actually Woody.
2.5.
Woody actually has been very good this tournament. I will
Woody,
say,
bro.
Woody's been very good this tournament. I have absolutely no idea how he performs in any of regional games, but this tournament he's been good.
All right, so I think that's enough there. Let's kind of wrap it up with this last game here. This isn't going to be a long stream. My wife's been gone all day. I know she's going to be home any minute now, and she's wanting to spend time. So I told her that this would hopefully be over by that time frame. We've got 4 games. Like I said, it's not exciting. But before we go into that game, I do want to talk about how continually and just over and over they were glazing Delight today. I just took so. Dude, they all stacked up into one little group, and he hit a fucking relo. They were right next to him. They got 4 guys put into one little spot, and he clicked fucking R on them. Like yes, the Light's been great. He's a great engaged support, but like that wasn't some phenomenal engage or anything. They fucking Genji threw that game 1. They fucking killed Peanut. They had the fucking Infernal Soul right there, but they all clumped up. Somehow fucking Chovy got out of it, or it would have been a 5-man all. How does that happen? And why are we celebrating? I don't know.
Does Busio make that play though?
Yeah, dude. I make that play. You make that play. Unless we burn our fucking alt prior to that happening, which I'm not sure how it could happen, because it was at the beginning of the fucking fight. It's not like he held it throughout a fight. It was Peanut was dead. Everybody arrived. Fucking Genji clumped up into one little spot, and he clicked R on them, and they all just got fucked up. And that makes total sense. Somehow, again, Chovy got out, but
Ayla does not make that play. Ayla does not. So Delight is better than Ayla.
I think Sven makes that play. Okay, somehow. Maybe even Reckless makes that.
You mean top 980 carries Sven?
You can't make that. You can't make that play on Janna, bud.
So now we've got the game that kind of so you're playing BLG. You're probably playing one of these teams. So that is to say, playing like a lineup of like Top and FlyQuest or Top and PSG, depending on how you think that game goes, or fuck T1 and PSG if you're Moose. If you're not playing those, you're probably playing some type of BLG Weibo or G2 lineup. Weibo, really a tale of 2 days, right? They look fantastic in the first half of their match against Genji, and you're like, oh my god, they're gonna win this game, and then they don't, and then they were just absolutely being dog walked by TL, and then they win, just based off of team fighting. But G2, a little bit better than TL. Gav, how do you see this game going? I know that you've got a little bit of a wager here. I think you're favoring one side.
Yeah, again, this is the wrong team. The wrong team is favored. Like, I just think that G2 have so many avenues to winning this game. Like we saw it against Team Liquid. Like, Weibo's not really a hard team to get up on, and if Team Liquid had any kind of team fighting hands, they probably like win that game with like 25-30 kills. Like G2 are as smart as Team Liquid and smarter, but they actually know how to team fight. So like, the only way Weibo win this game is if they're up like 5K at 15 minutes. And I just don't think that's going to happen. And like we even saw it, like Hanwha was up 3K against G2, and G2 was still able to fight their way out of that.
Back and make it competitive. I mean, in that game, Weibo, I think, had something like 16 or 17 unanswered kills. I mean, at like one point it was like 15-4, and I think it ended like 22-15. I don't know. I'm pulling that out. I know that there was a ridiculous amount of unanswered kills through 2, 3, or 4 team fights. That like, how do you?
I mean, there was
turn kills back.
Yeah, I mean, there was literally like a span, maybe from like 20 minutes or like maybe like 16 minutes until like 28 minutes when Weibo just stood topside and just tried to walk into Team Liquid to try and get a fight over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until it worked, literally for like 10-15 minutes. And that would just never ever happen against a real team. Like, and then it's just never going to happen with a team that knows how to sideline like G2, and they've shown that they are obsessed with sidelining this tournament, which makes me like pause for DFS wise. But as far as who's going to win, like, you just can't do that against a team that knows how to play side lanes like that. So,
all right, Moose, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think this is just your typical Weibo plays literally at the level of their competition, and they continue to do it over and over and over again. They play against what? Top esports. They play like top esports. They play against Gen. They roll with the punches with Gen. Gen goes off because they get forced to actually play in late game. And then they play against Liquid, same thing, right? So definitely like G2 here because we're all probably expecting Weibo to, how they got dog walked by Liquid for 32 minutes. how's G2 not gonna win? Well, I think that it's just gonna be the same thing. Weibo's just gonna play up to their competition, or down to their competition, and it's gonna be another close one. That's kind of why I like G2 in this spot. I think it's gonna be a higher scoring matchup than we think.
So that being said, I mean, I think what you're echoing is similar to what Kev is saying. Is that if Weibo is playing up or down to their competition, it really comes down to team fighting prowess. They're able to beat some of those teams that don't have the ability to team fight with them. G2 certainly has the chops to be able to do that. The question is, do you think that the sentiment that exists here on the show is what we're going to see in ownership? Do you think G2 is going to be higher owned than Weibo, or do you think that a cheap Weibo LPL team, people are going to kind of think LPL versus LEC? It's a false equivalency, I think, here, because it's an LPL 4 versus a LEC 1, and Weibo is going to be higher owned. Or do you think G2 is going to come in higher? You compare both of them with like a Knight Captain 4-3.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are going to be high, like 20% plus. Both of them are going to be.
I think
yeah, G2 is going to be the highest owned underdog.
Dude, FlyQuest is going to be the least.
I think
least owned
FlyQuest
favorite
is the
by
lowest.
far. Yeah,
FlyQuest is going to be
less
least
owned than
favorite.
PSG.
Yeah,
Might be a shark play for Kev and his inspired choice.
Well, I mean, they're going to be lower end than maybe PSG, but not T1 or Fnatic, right? Like, so it's going to be BLG,
top
G2,
esports.
G2 or top. Do you think top's?
I think some combo of top esports BLG 1, and then some combo of Weibo G2 3 and 4.
So here's my thing. If you think that G2 is going to be paired with BLG or top esports, then I think that G2, because they can pair with both of them, or Weibo, you can interchange them, ends up being higher owned than both BLG and top esports. If you can compare them with both in a 4-game slate. I don't think that that's actually the case. I think what we end up seeing is probably like a 20-20-20, that top esports, BLG, G2 all have very similar ownership. Makes it very interesting for me to go towards like a FlyQuest and putting FlyQuest with a BLG, and then throwing a G2 or Weibo team slot in there for like a 4-2-1. Or I think people will be more apt to go to BLG, rightfully, because BLG has had some pop-off games. We've seen it's crazy to have like 2 days of 8-game slates and they'd be done in the first 2 games. We've seen that plenty of times in 4 and 5-game slates, but I cannot stress how happy I was. I decided to go to work on Friday as opposed to taking the day off after not having enough LNG, and just like that slate being almost completely over, but not necessarily, because we saw a lot of other pop-off games. But I'm thinking like a top esports FlyQuest type of lineup is where I'm going to kind of lean heavily in the main, and then try and find some more normalcy in some winner-take-alls. Any parting thoughts from you, Moose, of similar fashion?
Yeah, I think that the slate is probably the simplest thing we've had so far. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's a lot of surprises other than, my T1 take. But other than that, look at this guy. Look at it, just soaking it in. Look at
gross.
It just doesn't. The 4 best of ones is something that we actually. I'm gonna max the main tourney, because you actually have a good chance of playing some solid lineups. Whereas it feels like when you have like a 5-game slate, it's just like a complete 4-2-1, 3-3-2 disaster, like 3-2-2 disaster that people play that like somehow wins. So definitely, I actually feel like this is one of the most playable slates we've seen in a minute, and one of the slates that actually has really interesting betting odds, right? Where we can actually talk about mispriced teams, like really interesting lines, and of course T1 plus 180. So
All right.
Definitely
Well, I completely disagree with you from a DFS perspective. From a betting, I'm right there with you, Kev. Parting thoughts about the slate.
I'm gonna play a lot more Asian players tonight than I have on the first two slates.
Probably a good idea.
The flight. Oh god.
Do the same. And any ownership on T1, you thank those players. You send them a fucking note on DraftKings for paying the rake. They are gonna get slaughtered.
That is sometimes one of the things that I go through when I look at my lineups. I'm like, how much NA did I play? How much LEC am I playing? And how many Koreans and Chinese kids do I have in my lineup? I think it's a good way to kind of check yourself. And I will see you guys again in a couple of days. Hopefully it's not talking about how T1 won this slate.
It's gonna be about how T1 misses out on top 8 with the same world championship roster.
I
can't wait.
What do we have left? Like, what do we have left for like good slates?
What do you mean? We've got
the slates are done after after tonight. The rest are just 2 gamers.
No. There's like 2 more 3 gamers, and then
there'll be a 3. Actually, there's a 3 gamer on the last day.
Wow, yeah, 3 gamer boys, buckle up.
That's what the final was supposed to be on. I'll take down that slate.
Hey, yeah, you will. All right.